So today we are going to talk about Dante. I don't know if I say this right. Alighieri. He actually wrote Dante's Inferno, which most people have heard of. But what you may not have heard of is the 10 circles of hell, which he visited. He was allowed to visit, and he gives in very detail in his writings. A lot of people say, "Oh, that was his imagination," but I truly believe this man visited there, and I truly believe that he was writing this down so that he could tell the world about what he saw. And it makes so much sense, especially if you know anything about the Bible and how it works and how God works. This does make total sense. It makes absolute sense. So I'm going to talk to you about first the circle of limbo. Now, the first circle of limbo, this is where people who have passed on, who never believed in anything, never believed in God, never believed in Jesus Christ, never believed in anything greater than themselves. These people are now in the first circle of limbo. The people that Dante saw in limbo were Ovid, Julius Caesar, Socrates, and Aristotle. I always say his name wrong. Now, this makes a lot of sense because they were all philosophers. They thought, so therefore they are, right? Except they thought wrong, so now they are in limbo. Sorry, bad humor. But anyway, that made sense to me. Now, the second circle was called lust. Now, lust, when he was in the circle of lust, he saw Achilles, Paris, Tristan, Cleopatra, and Dido. Now, when you think about lust, you think about lusting after a person. It's not always a person. Sometimes lusting after something that doesn't belong to you, wanting something that somebody else has, is considered lust. It's not always a person. It's not always sexual, but it can be. If you're lusting after something that doesn't belong to you, it is wrong. Whether it's a person, whether it's sex, whether it's a thing, it's wrong. Lust is lust, and it's wrong. The third one would be gluttony. Now, this one really got me because I never realized. No, not this one. This one was fine. The next one really got me. Okay, let me get it. I'm getting ahead of myself. Gluttony is for indulgers. Now, these were ordinary people who just indulged. They indulged in too much food. They indulged in too much alcohol. They indulged in too much sex. They indulged in too much of everything. They were extremists, indulging. The more they indulged, the more they felt alive. Therefore, putting indulgence before their God, right? Now, the fourth one was greed. The fourth circle is greed. Now, some people believe that greed is the worst circle that you can possibly be in. The worst sin that you could possibly commit, right? I believe it leads to many other sins. So, yeah, I don't know. They're all bad. But in this one, greed is mentioned as hoarding or as squandering. Now, this one got me because I didn't realize squandering was considered greed. So, hoarding your money, keeping it all to yourself so that it will not help anybody else, just you, is a sin. When you hoard your money and it means more to you than your God, it's a sin. When you're making money and it means more to you to make that money than to worship your God, you worship the money, it's a sin. Now, squandering, which is kind of the opposite, you wouldn't have really guessed it was a sin, right? But it is. If you squander your money and help no one, not yourself, not your family, not anyone else, you just wasted your money. I mean, what was the point of having it, right? Now, there's many other ways of squandering that people don't think about, and America's really big on it. We're a very wasteful nation. And so, like, for an example, I can go to the dollar store and I can get a plate for 99 cents. So I go to the dollar store and I get a set of plates for 99 cents a piece. So I bought, let's say 5 plates so I could take care of 5 people. Well, I'm thinking, well, they were only 99 cents. I could throw them away and get new ones. Squandering. When it means absolutely nothing to you, you figure, I can get another one, not a big deal. It's nothing. Well, it's something to somebody. That plate could have helped somebody else. That plate, someone else could have ate off. That plate you could have ate off for 10 years and saved yourself some money. Squandering. You could have helped somebody else with the money that you're spending on them plates. See what I'm saying? That's squandering. You just don't care. You don't care if it helps you. You don't care if it helps somebody else. You just don't care. And the whole purpose of money is to help you live, to help provide, to help others. It's not for your own need. It's not. That is not what money is for. And that's why it's gotten so messed up. And that's why it becomes such a sin. It's not that the money's a sin. It's how we use the money that becomes a sin. How we deal with the money that becomes the sin. How we deal with the stuff that becomes the sin. Because it's not always about money. Sometimes greed is about things. About things. Oh, you have 3 coffee pots. Why don't you give me one and give the neighbor one since you have so many? I can't do that. What would I do if I broke one? I need them. They're mine. I'm not sharing. That is greed. That is greed. See what I'm saying? Excuse me. The next circle is anger. Now, the only way to enter anger circle is to go through the dis, D-I-S. The dis is the walls of Satan. Imagine that. Now, the 6th circle, which is heresy. Heresy, which means to reject. Rejection of Jesus, rejection of the great I am, rejection of the one true God, rejection of political and religious norms, rejection of the norm. Okay, what do I mean by the rejection of the norm? Okay, example, America. It's normal to be a woman if you were born a woman, and to be a man if you were born a man. But the heresy of that would be to change me being a woman to a man and a man to a woman, because that's not the norm. That's heresy. That is just one example. Now, the people that he saw while he was in the heresy circle, he saw I'm not going to mention some of these people because you will never know who they are, but one of them was a pope, Anastasius II. Another was an emperor called Frederick II. And another was an aristocrat who I cannot even pronounce his name, so I'm not going to try. And he was a military leader and an aristocrat, and he tried to take the throne in Italy. And he was actually convicted of posthumously heresy in 1283. Now, what posthumously means, I had to look it up because I can't even pronounce it, let alone what it was. It means after the death of the original. So the next one, the next circle was violence. Now, violence, the circle of violence broke off into 3 different rings, circles, and housing different types of violent people in each circle. The first one was people who were violent against people and properties, like Attila the Hun. That's who he saw there. The second one was called the Centaurus Guard outering. Okay, let me explain this a little better. The second one has a Centaurus Guard. And this Centaurus Guard shoots arrows at the inhabitants constantly. And the next one is for those who committed violence against themselves, such as suicide. And they are perpetually, the people who killed themselves, who committed suicide, were perpetually eaten by harpies. Now, that was another thing I had to look up. And harpy was a half bird, half woman monster. They also called them the Snatcher and the Hounds of Zeus. And they were eaten by the harpies, and the inner ring is made of blasphemers who are violent against God and his nature. And even committed blasphemy against lesser gods like Satan and Zeus. Now, the eighth one was fraud. Fraud, liars. This is the eighth circle. And this one was also another, okay, this one had another circle within it. And this circle was called Melbaj, evil pockets. Okay, it had these evil pockets in it, which housed 10 ditches. And each ditch housed different types of people. And the people who committed fraud, panderers, seducers, flatterers, simoniacs, those who sell ecclesiastical preferment, orators, corrupt politicians, schismatic, those who separate religions to form new ones, and alchemists, among others, are in these ditches, and they are guarded by demons and inhabitants, and they suffer different punishments, such as simoniacs, who stand headfirst in stone bowls and endure flames upon their feet. Now, the definition for some of these things that I'm going to explain to you. Now, a simoniac is a person who sells spiritual things. That means tarot card readers who sell spiritual knowledge, people who sell doves, people who sell oils, people who sell anything that leads to spiritual things, anything that is spiritual, and they sell it. That is wrong. You are not allowed to sell it. It is a sin. The second, it doesn't matter even if it's of God or if it's of the evil one. If you're selling a spiritual knowledge, it is a sin. Now, the other thing I was questioning was ecclesiastical, what that was. That means the taking of a church. And what it was talking about was ecclesiastical preferment, which means the taking a part of a church. So a person who helps take a part of a church to deteriorate a church, to cause trouble and cause its downfall. Now, the other thing that I was looking up, because I didn't know what that was either, a barrator, Barrators. This is corrupt politicians. This is a person who causes arguments and lawsuits and trouble so much that it goes to court cases. That's what that is. And these are people who have sinned. Alchemists have sinned. These people have sinned, and they are in the eighth circle of fraud and liars. And these people would have been corrupt politicians. Corrupt politicians. And schismatics are people who separate religions to form their own religion. Break off a religion to start another religion, or take bits and pieces from a religion to form another religion. And a lot of religions have done that. Now, as I was saying, each ditch is guarded by demons and inhabitants that suffer different punishments, such as somniacs who stand headfirst in a stone bowl and endure flames upon their feet. Now, the ninth circle is treachery, deepest part of hell, one of the deepest parts of hell. This is where Satan resides. It is separated into 4 different circles. The first circle being Cana, which is a word that was derived from the biblical word Cain, who murdered his own brother. This circle is bound, is for people who were traitors of their own family. They were traitors of their own family. They harmed their own family. Now, the second circle of the ninth circle, treachery, was Antenora. And this is taken from the word Antenora of Troy, who betrayed the Greeks, reserved for political and national traitors. So this circle is all of your political and national traitors, like the ones who are trading or being traitors to America, just for an example, or traitors to, they're traitors to their country. So those are those ones. And that is reserved for those people. That would be like Hitler. Hitler would be reserved for there. The third one being Ptolemia, which is from Ptolemy, son of Abubus, who invited Simon Maccabeus and his son to dinner and then killed him, murdered him. This circle is for those who betrayed their guest. This one is punished more harshly because it is considered a voluntary relationship that was betrayed. The fourth circle is a Judica, after Judas Iscariot, who betrayed Jesus, traitor to their lords, benefactors of their masters, and have own demons and punishers. Have their own demons and punishers. They punish. I wouldn't want to be these people. I wouldn't. And in the center of hell, which is called the eternal fire, separation from God. This is where Satan waits. He is a 3-headed beast, and he has 3 mouths. Each mouth is eating a person from one of them circles. Now, there was a lost memoir about the 10th circle. And in this 10th circle, it describes a lake. And trapped under that lake, it's frozen. And trapped under this frozen lake is all of those who were guilty of betrayal and violating trust. This is also called purgatory. This hell, lake of hell, is called purgatory. Now, hell means underworld, a deep pit of distant land of shadows where the dead are gathered. Now, I don't know about you, but this was really intense for me. It was really intense because not only is there a hell, there is different levels of hell. Different levels for one devil. Not different devils for different levels. There's one devil for all these levels. Now, if you choose to sin, you're going to be in one of those places. There ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's a true place. It's a real place. It's described in the Bible. It's described by this man who actually got to visit there and come back and tell the world about it. It's a real place, just like heaven's a real place. I've heard people talk about, well, we live in hell. We're in hell right now. No, baby, you're not. But that will be. That is hell. That is hell. And that is not a place I want to go. That is why I tell as many people as I possibly can about God, so that they can know that there is an alternative to hell. You get to hell, you are not living anymore. You are no longer living. You're in a hell. You are not coming back to live another life. You do not get another chance. There is no get out of jail free card, get out of hell free card. There is not. You get there, you're there. You don't get a second life. There is no afterlife. This is it, all of it, in a nutshell, in a handbag. Now, I don't know about you, but I want to go to heaven. I've heard how heaven is described, and heaven is beautiful, and it's a place I want to live, and it's a place I will live forever, and I do not have to worry about ever being tormented in this place. It will be a place where I can actually be at peace always, be happy always, be loved always, know goodness always. There is no bad, because all the bad went to hell. Now, I've heard people talk about life after death. Yes, there is life after death, baby. Jesus died. He came alive. That is life after death. Duh. That is reincarnation. Duh. When we die, we go to heaven or we go to hell. When we get judged, we go to heaven or we go to hell. We ain't got no two ways about it. Heaven or hell. You can take whatever level you want to in hell. I'm taking heaven. I don't want the devil's levels. I don't. I've been sitting here watching all the news and all of the goof stuff that I've seen. All of these people. It's not even goof stuff. All of this horrible stuff that these people have been committing against children, against human beings, against God. God. Right there on television for all the world to see. And now it's being taken out of the dark and put into the light, and people are seeing what they've been doing. And it's being stopped. Being stopped. These people already chose what side they were choosing. They already chose whether they were choosing God or they were choosing hell. They chose their God, their hell. And now the devil is dropping them. Oh, yeah. He gave you everything, baby. He gave you everything you wanted. You had it all. You had cars. You had mansions. You had money. You could have helped somebody. You could have done good. But instead, you've done evil. You've done evil. Not only did you do evil, you harmed others in the process. You chose the devil and you worshiped him. You did sacrifices, blood sacrifices, flesh sacrifices, sexual sacrifices, anything you could do to worship that God who you thought would never take you down. And here you are, being taken down, as well as you should. As well you should. Shame on you. There is no defense for what you did. None. Whatsoever. You chose the devil, baby. Now you're at his level. And he's going to take you down to hell. To one of them levels, if not to every one of them. I don't know where these people think that they were ever going to come out on top harming someone else. I don't know where they thought that they were ever going to come out on top worshiping the devil. The devil promises the world. He does. He promises them everything. Oh, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you that, and I'm going to give you this. But what he don't tell them is once you got it all, and you've worshipped me, and you've done everything I've asked you to do, I'm going to pull it out from underneath you. And I'm going to let you fall. And I'm going to kick you when you're down. And that's exactly what he's doing. It's exactly what he's doing. Everything that these people did to someone else, they are going to pay for personally. Personally. If not here on earth, they will pay for it personally in hell. There is no getting out of that. You did it. You did the crime. And now you're going to pay for all eternity. Not just here. For all eternity. I would go into an opinion about what I think, but it really doesn't matter what I think they should do to these people. It's not my place. It's God. It's God's. I will tell you this. You know, in the animal kingdom, when an animal gets bitten by rabies or gets infected by rabies and can no longer live normally on this earth, they put that animal down, put it out of its misery. Anyway, that's a different story, and we won't go there, but we're going to leave that at that. I don't believe that these people have even started to go through their hell. I think their hell is just starting, and it needs to just start, and it needs to continue, because what they did to these children and what they did to these human beings was wrong on every level. Every level. There was no way at any point in time that they thought it was a good thing to do. They thought that it was the right thing to do. Never at any time did they ever think about this other person and their feelings and their life and anything about them. It was all about, they were thinking all about themselves and the devil's intentions and how to feed their devil so that they can keep getting what they thought they needed. I've watched all of this stuff, and it just sickens me. You know, we watched movies about vampires and cannibals that, you know, monsters that were vampires and cannibals, and, you know, and how they preyed on people, and then these cannibals and vampires, true cannibals and true vampires, preyed on people. But if you remember, in the movie, you could take them out. There was always weakness that you can take them out. Excuse me. And I believe their weakness has been found. And I believe now they are being taken down and stopped. It's a sad, sad day when things have gone so astray. So horrible, so horrid. And all we can do is sit there and watch the TV and the YouTube and the TikToks and the Facebooks and just being horrible. It's not something we want to see. It's not something we want to know, but we have to know. And now that we know, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to make sure it don't happen again? How are we going to protect those kids? And the kids, all kids, not just those kids, all kids. How are we going to protect them? How are we going to help the kids that have been already harmed? How are we going to help them? How are we going to get them counseling? How are we going to get them the help that they need to go on? How are we going to help them to realize that there is a God bigger than that devil? How are we going to help them show them that God is bigger than the devil who did what they did to them? We need to step up and be the Christians and the people that we should have been from the beginning. The protectors of those children. You know, I really, really don't care what happens to Diddy and his people. Well, actually, that's not true. I do care. I do not want them walking the streets. Honestly, I don't want them ever to get out. Honestly, it would be okay if they disappeared off the face of the earth for me. You know, I'm not saying I'm going to do anything. I'm not. But it would be okay for me if they just weren't here anymore. It would be okay. They couldn't harm nobody else, right? Not going to harm. Personally, I'm not going to harm anybody. I do not do that. I will not do that. No revenge, no nothing here. That's God. God wrath will take care of them. It has nothing to do with me. But what I will tell you is I'm more concerned about the people who were the victims, whose lives they destroyed. I'm more concerned about helping them than really making sure that these people get seen in the media. I don't care if those people like Diddy get seen in the media. I hope they never get seen in the media again. I hope that people think their name is a dirty word and never speak it again in life. But what I really, really care about is what happened to them victims. Who is helping them? Who is being there for them? Who is helping them get through the nightmares that they're having to deal with on a day-to-day basis? I know what happened to me, and I dealt with a lot, but nothing compared to what these people dealt with. Now with me, I slept with a taser under my pillow for years. I can't imagine how these people live. And I don't say these people like there's somebody that nobody else is. They are good people that bad things happen to. And they need help. They need people to open a door for them. They need counseling. They need to know that this is not the entire world. They need to know that the light of God trumps the darkness of the devil. Honestly, that's what needs to happen. And going forward, I'm going to tell everybody and anybody about God, because He's the answer. He's the light that wipes out the dark. He's the goodness that wipes out the bad. He's the love that wipes out the hate. He's the beauty that wipes out the ugly. And I'm going to spread His love, and I'm going to spread His word, and I'm going to spread His life and His everything about God that I can to everybody I can, because that is so important. And I would suggest you do the same thing and reach out and help somebody in need. Reach out and listen to somebody who's talking. If they're telling you that something happened to them, believe them, because it did. Very few people lie about it. There are people that do, and shame on them. Anyway, throughout this whole situation, I've learned a lot. I've learned, first of all, this world got some very wicked, dark people in it. And second of all, I learned that my God is greater than all of them. And I'm going to just talk about it as much as I can. Anyway, I hope this information helped you, and I hope that it made you think, if nothing else. And I hope you're blessed. And please, please, share my stuff, share my information, share my videos, because the more people that get to see it, the more people will know about God. And I would appreciate it. Thank you. Hallelujah. God bless.